John Hook's Newsmaker starts now.
Thanks for joining us for Newsmaker. We cover the gamut on this program, and tonight we're going to dive into the music of heart.
Barracuda. Let me go crazy, crazy on me. He's a magic man.
Ann and Nancy Wilson formed Heart in the early 70s and never looked back. 50 million records sold, Grammy nominations, a Lifetime Grammy Achievement Award. They penned countless rock classics. Magic Man, Crazy on You, Barracuda, What About Love, These Dreams, Alone. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013, and they are still doing it. They are touring with a stop here in Arizona, Prescott Valley, Saturday night, August 16th at the Toyota Center. Pleased to have on the program Nancy Wilson. Great to see you.
Good to be here. Happy to be here.
I am so intrigued when you go out on that stage next Saturday night. Do you still feel the buzz, the thrill, the excitement, even nerves when you go out on that stage?
Oh, absolutely, I do. It's, if I did not feel nervous, I always want to, check the pulse of that. Or if I don't feel nervous, I feel like, oh no, I'm scared to not feel nervous, because it's an important exchange that you have, that's a live experience, 100% live on a big rock stage that only happens one time. There's no pre-record going on, so it's edgy, and it's happening once only that particular night.
Yeah, you guys are not using auto-tune, you're not using backing tracks, you are playing it live. And I think that is so impressive in this day and age.
Yeah, we're 100% skin in the game, It's
so if you're not a little bit nervous, you don't care.
Well, if you're not a little bit nervous, you're phoning it in, and it's not authentic, right? So, we're passionate, and we're kind of put on the earth to do what we do. We're musicians since we were really young kids who, even before we had any kind of, sexual identity attached to anything, we were like already good as young kids. So we just thought, why not? We're just gonna barge right in and be proficient and do the 10,000 hours of homework, and somehow 50 years later it actually pretty obviously worked. So
it's so cool that you've created something that endures. I think for every mortal there's that dream, is there anything that's going to last? And I think you've created it, because these songs, as with good art, stand the test of time, and you and Ann are just an unstoppable force.
Oh, well, thank you. You just hit it on the head, though, actually. That's, to me, since we started going back out 2024, and now we're out until 2026, it's really the most exciting and rewarding part of it is to see the little kids that are showing up, and their parents, and college-age kids are coming to the Heart shows. A lot of people just started hearing us in the 80s. They didn't even know about the mid to late 70s version of this band. So it's a multi-generational experience and the band Heart, being called Heart, it lives up to its namesake, because we have a lot of heart with what we do, and we bring the family together for these rock shows. And that, to me, is the most important thing that could happen with something you put into the world, that it translates, it echoes forward into new generations and all of the rest, like you said.
Nancy, what about being able to do this alongside your sister? You guys are very close. You're younger than your sister Ann. Her voice is magnificent, as is yours. We're going to get into that in a minute, because I don't think you get your due as a singer. You're a terrific singer, but you are known for your guitar playing. I mean, you really broke a lot of barriers, especially with women playing guitar. And to think that it started with a $30 Lyle acoustic, it's hard to believe.
Yeah, it was impossible to play this guitar, and it was a $30 piece of plywood, basically, with
Bridge
a
cables.
dowel for a neck. And so you could never bar a chord to save your life. So in learning basics on a guitar like that, I got real strong and kind of aggressive as a player to be able to play that thing at all. So
Yeah.
I think I could give that $30 Lyle a lot of credit.
Yeah.
In the end.
Being on stage with your sister, though, that family connection, it is a blessing and at times a curse, right? Because you know each other's pressure points, and you can hit them if you need to.
You said it. I mean, there are buttons that only siblings can push in each other. And, we've always had a really tight relationship being from military family. We still have that sensibility and that ethic of military family ethic about being in a band together and leading the band and being the leaders and, decision makers and power structure of this band since the beginning. But the thing that always remains the same with me and my sister Ann is that the nucleus of us, we are the cell, we are the molecule, at the center. We are the eye of the hurricane, which is a real calm center.
That's great. And she really was she kind of broke out first, right? She started and she was working in a band, and then you joined that band.
Yeah. She was older enough to be playing clubs before I was older enough to play clubs. So we had a bunch of acoustic bands and girl singer bands and harmony bands and little different bands together with really funny names like the Viewpoints and Rapunzel. And I went to college and played acoustic on my own for a while. But yeah, it was what I knew I was going to join Ann's band, even though she got started with the real band first. And Hart changed his name from White Hart to Hart when I joined after I went to college a little bit. And then we made our first album that same year that I joined for real after sitting in for a few summers, and it worked out.
Are you talking about Dreamboat Annie? Is that?
Yeah,
do you
first
consider
album,
that the
Dreamboat
first?
Annie.
Well, my God! I mean, you had Magic Man, Crazy on You out of that. When was the moment, Nancy, that you thought, "Oh boy, we've got something going here"? Do you remember a moment where you said, "Oh, this could take us places"?
I really do. We'd made the album, which was exciting and thrilling to walk into an actual, real professional recording studio in Vancouver, BC. And the album was done. We were still touring in clubs. And then we got kicked out of a club called Lucifer's for criticizing the food, that they had there from the stage. So they kicked us out. And the album was just barely coming out. And the same night we got kicked out, we got a phone call from Rod Stewart's management that said, "Hey, you've got a song on the radio here in Montreal, called Magic Man. So do you want to come open for Rod Stewart? Because his opening band got sick." Like a perfect movie scenario.
Oh, man.
So we said, "Alrighty then, we just got fired from Lucifer's. Let's go." So we took the train across Canada to Montreal and opened for Rod Stewart. And that was the moment that was the big, hair-raising, arm hairs going up moment on that stage, first big stage, when people heard Magic Man, and they lit up their lighters.
Oh, boy.
Matches, and
So they
Zippo,
knew it. They recognized it. They'd been hearing it.
Zippo lighters, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So it was like 1,000 stars in the night sky at that arena. It was like they've heard the song, they know our song, they love our song, and so region by region after that, more people started hearing the new album and the singles.
You also opened for Queen, didn't you? You actually opened for Queen.
We opened for Queen in Europe
Unbelievable.
a
Wow.
few times for a run with another band called Nazareth.
Oh, yeah.
We did a couple of really cool songs, Love Hurts and This Flight Tonight. Anyway, and Queen was incredible to be able to sit on the side of the stage and watch them play every night. Insanely talented band. And Freddie Mercury was a huge Ann Wilson fan because he's a diva, she's a diva, so it follows that
You can say that. Yes.
Ann, oh Ann, you know. So it was really quite a time. Yeah.
When you did Dreamboat Annie, I mean, you have two huge hits, and then you follow it up with Little Queen and Barracuda. I mean, it was like you guys were on fire. Can you describe to the average person sitting at home right now what that feels like when you've got that kind of momentum going and you feel like it's never going to stop?
Well, we always thought it would work, you know, and we never thought it would last as long as it has. But the one moment where I felt the coolest I might have ever felt was walking in a boutique area of Boston, the college town, really great town. And we were looking for groovy threads, man, you know, trying with our new money that we didn't really even have yet, spending it too fast, of course. A car drove by with its windows down, blasting Barracuda, like top volume. And we heard it go by and we were like, this is what it is. This is happening. This is the coolest I might ever get to feel, because it's like, it's not the first album. This is the second album, and it's Barracuda is everywhere now. So
yeah. And the
hear it-
sophomore album's the toughest, everybody says.
Yeah, well, you're on tour so much. The first tour took a couple of years because the offers got bigger and bigger, and we to Europe and Japan and kept going, you know. But yeah, hard work.
When we come back on Newsmaker, I want to talk about songwriting, because that to me is where the rubber meets the road. Without a great catalog, it's not a great band. And you guys proved it time and time again. We're back with Nancy Wilson from Heart in just a moment on Newsmaker. We are back with Nancy Wilson of Heart. They are going to be playing Saturday, August 16th, the Toyota Center in Prescott Valley. And Todd Rundgren, who's one of my favorite artists, is opening the show. Nancy, before we went to break, we were going to talk about songwriting, and I've got a few questions I've got to ask you about this. Do you sit down and actually do a writing session, or does the song come to you and you grab a guitar or your iPhone and put it down?
Well, yes and yes.
Okay.
You know, both things happen. It happens every which way. I think when the muse is talking to you, you must listen or it disappears. It's very, you know, it's
elusive.
It's elusive and gossamer, you know, that way. And so
Yes.
you have to, if you're trying to fall asleep and there's some cool melody, or you wake up and something's still ringing in your head from your dream musically, you have to get your phone. And so there's always a little collection of ideas I'm keeping in my notes. like that.
Snippets, right? Snippets of stuff, and then you build on it.
Snippets. And then I have a collaborator who's worked with Heart songwriting for years. Her name is Sue Ennis, and we wrote stuff for Dog and Butterfly together and a lot of stuff like that. We've still been
great
working
song.
a lot together because having the creative outlet of that, I think, is highly important to somebody who's not, you know, talk about not phoning it in and not just going out on a tour just to do the hits or the expected songs that people love, which you do anyway, but to always have the creative spark ignited in your life and trying to create more new songs, because it's so a good song turns out in the end you see how important songs get are in people's lives, like not just the soundtrack to their lives, but like a saving grace in their
Yes.
life.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm curious, do you know when, does it come to you quickly generally? Can you recall a song, for instance, where it came to you almost start to finish like that? Some of them do.
Some of them do, but most of them don't, unfortunately. Sometimes you feel like something drops out of the sky into your lap, at least a good section of a song that you want to finish. But you know, there's stuff like that. There's stuff that starts with a guitar riff, like a heart song called Hijinks was just a total great jam, or a song like Even It Up was like that too,
Yes.
where we went to sit down. We would hire, we would take, we'd rent a cabin at the ocean, me and Ann and Sue, to go write songs for a weekend or 5 days or 10 days, just for the purpose of writing. And here's a little jam I've been working on. Here's some lyrics I have. Here's a title idea. So we would intentionally sit down and work on songs.
Do you know that it's a hit right away? If something really did, can you think of a song where you said, this is going to be an absolute smash?
I thought with Barracuda, you know.
Well, the opening guitar riff is enough to send you right through the windshield. It's good stuff.
Right. Well, it's just so compelling, you know, and it's like the energy is there and the simplicity is there enough so that you can kind of imprint it immediately into your DNA.
Yeah, right.
You know, the way certain musical things can just go straight into your skin, basically. And Barracuda was one of those things.
Did you write one where you said, I don't know, and then it became a big hit?
Well, we didn't write one, but we recorded one that was written by Mutt Lange called All I Want to Do Is Make Love to
Yes,
You.
yes.
It was huge. It was our biggest global hit ever. And we changed the gender from how it was originally written, which was a guy picking up a girl on a rainy night in a car, astray, and has a child, and all this other stories
flipped it.
that happens in the song. And it was huge. And
Yeah.
even so much so that in Ireland, where it was with the gender changed, it was a woman in the story who picked up a stray guy,
Yep.
you know, just for his sexuality, and then went and had a child with him, and out of wedlock, right? So we were banned. It was banned in Ireland. at
Oh,
the time.
wow.
We were like, yeah, that's cool, man. We're banned in Ireland. You know, we're so cool that we're banned in Ireland.
I want to get back to you as a singer because, again, I do not think people appreciate. I mean, your guitar playing is widely acclaimed. You're one of the highest regarded guitarists in rock history. But I think you are a magnificent singer, and These Dreams illustrates that. That is just a great track.
That is a beautiful track that nobody thought it would be a good heart song, and I said, no, I need to sing that song. It's got that thing that's not obviously a heart thing at the time, but I just felt it was a fit for me and for my voice and for the message. And Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics as well, so that's that was really exciting. And but I'm not, I'm a guitar player definitely who loves to sing, but then my sister is born to sing. There's a difference. And so I love singing, and especially harmony parts. I love singing harmony. It's my favorite thing in music, almost, to chime in with people
Totally
singing.
agree with that. Totally agree with that. There's nothing better than that feeling when it's two or
great
three
feeling.
voices and it sounds like five.
Exactly. You've done that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I dabbled. Okay.
At least at Christmas time, we should do a couple of carols.
That would be great. All right. I have to run this by you. Kevin Cronin, who I'm sure you know, REO Speedwagon, he told me one time that when they recorded I Can't Fight This Feeling, he said, you know, we had just barely written that song and all of a sudden the red light's on and we're recording it. And he said, and that is the version for all of history. And he said, and we barely had our arms around the song. Did you feel that when you would sometimes in the studio, you're recording it almost too soon? Now you get the energy from that, but you also don't have your full arms around it. Does that resonate with you at all?
Yes, indeed. There are just songs that you write, like a lot of the early stuff for Dreamboat Annie and Little Queen, we were still working on them as we recorded them. And a lot of times we'd have to, you know, I mean, with the luxury of record companies who at that point were footing the bill and helping artists get developed like they don't do anymore. So in that way, we were lucky and spoiled, you know, to have the way of writing in the studio with the red light on, and a lot of that came together, you know, pretty quickly because we knew what we wanted to get out of it. But it doesn't always happen the first time. In those days before digital technology allowed you to just, you know, cut and paste everything together.
You can piece it together if you have to.
You have to play the entire track all the way through as a band together at the same time. And if you liked the first half of the song or the middle section or the end of the song from different takes, you would take an actual razor blade and physically cut the physical tape to splice together to listen back that way. So it was, there was just a lot of ways to make it happen. But I think it's more about capturing something that's, as it happens, can be way more exciting than the 20th take that you record.
You know what, the Beatles lived off that. They were cranking out so much material in a short amount of time. You felt the exuberance of the excitement over the songs they were performing. And I know you're a huge fan. John Lennon, a huge influence as a rhythm guitar player.
For sure.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Paul and John and George were great guitar players that, you know, really helped me figure out a lot of influences. Obviously, Jimmy Page and David Gilmour, and, you know, even Elton John's piano playing informed me as a guitar player how to accompany those songs, you know, at sing-alongs and stuff. But and Neil Young and Paul Simon, but Paul McCartney and John Lennon in a huge way but their stuff is so unbelievably culture-altering, great, you know, explorations into musical invention that they did.
Yeah, they covered the gamut. I'm just curious, I'd love to ask you this because I know high school years were, you know, you're trying to figure out your place. And here you and Ann become big, big stars. Did you ever go back to your high school reunion?
Oh, well, not me, because, you know, there were socias and then there were hipsters. There were hippies and socias. And I was kind of in between. I had friends on both sides of the camps at school. But Ann was the ugly duckling with braces and overweight. So when she became a star with Heart, she made a point of getting a limousine going back to her high school reunion.
Sweet revenge.
Rubbing it in their faces.
That is so great. Nancy, thank you so much. Heart is playing Saturday, August 16th, Toyota Center in Prescott Valley. Todd Rundgren will open. That is a must-see show. Nancy Wilson, thank you so much. Give our best to Ann.
Thank you.
It is just a pleasure. It's a pleasure to talk to you and continued success.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for the legacy.
See you at the show.
I'm going to do my best, actually. Nancy Wilson, thank you very much.
Take care.
Great to see you. Appreciate it. Thanks to Nancy Wilson of Heart for joining us on Newsmaker. We will see you next week.